Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another podcast, episode 120. I am Adam Chase Rennie.
And I'm Christine Chen.
Thank God we're here, ladies and gentlemen, because if we weren't, this computer was going to go out the window. Thank you so much for participating, you guys. Thank you so much for being patient. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Instagram. And we got a whole show for y'all. So Christine, what's been happening?
My trip down south has officially ended. I went to Joshua Tree to meet up with another friend of the podcast, cast Elizabeth True, who is one of the leads of Ursula. Spent 2 days there. Now I'm back in sunny Los Angeles. So, yes, it feels so weird. It's weird whenever you get back and you haven't been you're home in like a month and stuff. And it's different for me because everywhere else, especially in Austin, is home. So it doesn't feel like I've been away from home. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I get it.
This is less of a home so far. But hopefully it will end up being more of a home soon. So
yeah,
I just need to suck it up. It's just hard right now because, as everybody knows, the industry is kind of on a mini shutdown.
Oh yeah,
due to WGA negotiations, which is important for sure. We support and are in solidarity with the WGA and SAG and everything. So. I mean, but it is hard for people in the industry. Roxy told me that her union friends have been reaching out to her to see if there are any gigs around in Los Angeles. That's how slow it is.
I feel that.
So,
man.
Yeah. Yes.
How's Rox doing in this entire process?
Roxy's good. She actually has a photography shoot today, so she left about 2 hours ago with all her gear, so she's doing well, I think. And
hell yeah,
yeah, we're just all trying to figure out how to survive. I read, somebody sent me an article in Deadline that basically was like, this is going to be like a pandemic, but for creatives with zero financial help. I'm like, that's cool.
So
Thanks,
relieving to hear. Thank you so much for saying that.
Thank you so much, Deadline. Thank you.
Deadline? Of course it's Deadline. Yeah. I don't know. Like, Deadline and their reporting for the WGA has been like, I don't know.
What do you think? Do you think it's been kind of skewed or what?
A little bit, just because how they report it is definitely not for they're definitely not against the AMPTP. I'll say that in terms of how they report some of their things. I know that's not what they're trying to come across. I know that's not what they're trying to do. Yada, 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 yada. I get it. But from the reader like me, the dummy like me, I read it as if it's WGA, I mean, they just can't come to terms with what's going on in reality. And it seems like the AMPTP is just, doing its job. It's like, no, they're not. They're not. I hate to break it to y'all, but they're not. I mean, it's obvious, because we're in day almost 70 of the strike. So I mean, come on, don't act like as if this is the writer strike's fault for not coming to the table with some sort of solution. They did find a solution. It's just the producers are just like, no. It's like, well, can you please work with us? And they're like,
I don't know. It's I'm choosing. This is a time.
I know we shouldn't get political, but whatever.
Yes,
we're
choosing to be as positive as possible. This is a great time to organize all your
No,
stuff.
it's
This is
definitely
a great
positive.
time to make your resume and
Yes.
go and update your website. In my case, I'm editing my own projects, so that's been very nice. It's been writing. I'm sure you've been writing a lot,
Oh.
or
Oh
and
yeah.
all that jazz. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, that's about it. And I'm using this time too to like, oh, I should watch movies. I
Yeah.
should support my industry. So yes, yesterday I watched the Joy Ride film. Joy
Oh, I
Ride.
heard it's hilarious.
It's super fun. It's
Cool.
cool. It's really neat for
Your
some
kind of comedy or
Asian
no?
American. Definitely my kind of
Yeah.
comedy.
Oh,
And
okay.
so
Cool. Awesome.
which makes me even happier because it's uh this is not something you would have seen 10 years ago, 5 years ago or
Oh, really?
whatever. It's just
Okay.
I just feel like in the recent years we've been seeing this trend in Asian American content, which has been really cool. You see it in series.
Oh, I
Before it was
finally.
more like
I'm so sorry. I finally saw Beef. It just came. It just popped into my head. Sorry, my bad.
ah,
Yeah,
it's okay.
I remember you
Uh
talking about Beef. Wasn't it you who recommended Beef to me? Yeah.
yes, I recommended Beef. Yes, yes,
Fucking
yes.
insane, dog. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, but
So
you were
this
talking
is
about Joyride.
it's all good. It's all these things that I feel like you wouldn't have seen earlier on. It's just because, it's most of the stuff has been very lacking in, POCs. So,
Yeah.
so it's exciting to see stuff like this. And that's why even though I got to watch it for free first, which was because I have a good friend who's part of the Academy uh, wardrobe program, so she has access to Academy's pre-screenings. I
Okay.
still went to AMC to watch it again the same day for the Joyride. So I actually watched it twice yesterday.
Oh
So
yeah.
gotta
Okay.
support.
You like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
film that much? Hell yeah, dude.
No, it was just what happened was a friend, actually a friend of the podcast, my director of Cat Daddies invited me
Yeah.
to watch it, and then literally the moment I bought a ticket, my other friend was like Carol, that's her name. She's
Mm.
a costume or wardrobe designer. She's like, "Hey, I get a free ticket for as an Academy member. Do you want to come?" And I'm like, "Shit, I already bought a ticket, but it's okay." I was like, "I want to see you. I'm gonna see you, so it's fine. I'll just go watch the movie twice." And it was fun. It was good
Fuck
enough to
yeah.
watch twice. Let's just say that. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So it was great. And so I enjoy that very much, and I hope to see more content like that where, the majority of the people on screen are POCs, Asian,
Yeah.
or whatever race that's non-white,
Yeah, and I love what's her name? Stephanie Sue? I think
Yeah,
her
definitely choose.
she's
Yeah.
from Everything Everywhere All at Once. She plays a
Yep,
daughter.
she's in it. Yes. Yes.
She's she's incredible. Like she's really really good. I watched Everything Everywhere again and I was just
Yeah.
blown away by that movie yet again.
Yeah, I need to watch that again. I feel like I
Oh,
missed so much.
you
Uh,
definitely, because I definitely did. Like even the
yeah.
first go around or the second go around, and I watched it a third time. I still find shit that I'm like, are you kidding me? They took the time to do this, and it's like tiny things in the background that are just hilarious. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like yeah, it's super rad. It's such a phenomenal, wonderful little film. You know.
Yeah. I need to I'm now going back and rewatch doing a better job about rewatching things because there's just so much stuff you can learn from rewatching in terms. I used to be like, "Oh, I don't believe in rewatching." And I only
What?
say did that because I felt like there were so many films already that I still have yet to watch. Why am I rewatching stuff? But then
I
it just
mean, yeah, okay.
but now I'm like, "Oh, well, rewatching things I could really go in and pick out details.
I mean, you can rewatch a movie because you like it too.
Right, that too. Yeah, but it's, you know what I'm saying? It's just
I
like,
do. Because you
so
feel like
much
there's
stuff
so
out
much.
there.
Yeah, you only have so much time, right? And then so you don't want to keep rewatching the same old shit. I get it. But there's sometimes where like a movie will just pop up and I'm just like, yeah, I gotta watch that again. It's been a while. Gotta dust off the old I watched The Notebook again for like the 9 millionth time.
I love that film. So
yeah, and
how
I
was
still
it
cried.
watching it again?
It's fucking amazing. I cried again. It's just that film fucking gets me, dude. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Because like it's just by the third act and like the last 10, 15 minutes, I'm just shaking in tears and shit. You know, it just God damn, makes you feel everything. Definitely not a great movie when you're single. I'll say that. Definitely not a great movie to watch when you're single.
I love that film.
I love it too.
My house or my roommates, they do a thing where they take films that they used to think are amazing and they watch them to see if they still they still hold up. And so they've done, but it's usually like really shit, like blockbuster 90s, like big time films. Like they did The Mummy, which that one holds up still. The Mummy is great. Yeah. So
with Brendan Fraser, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah. It's amazing. They watched. I wasn't part of this because I just got back yesterday, but I think that a few days ago they watched Anaconda.
Oh really? Oh hell yeah.
They said that it was amazing to see how many stars that at that point were not A-listers that were in this film. So like apparently like J-Lo was in it, and like just it was a Ice Cube. It was just a huge list of people. Yeah. And then what was another one that A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? Is that
with Sean Connery.
Yeah, that one did not hold up.
No?
It was very no.
I feel like that would not hold up.
Not good. Yeah. So I don't know what their next thing is going to be, but I find that to be very funny. I have enjoyed going back and watching films that I loved as a kid to see if they hold up as well. And like E.T. most definitely holds up. Jurassic Park, totally. Jaws, of course. So it's fun to like revisit some of the stuff and be like, did I like this because I was a kid and didn't know any better, or is it actually a good movie? And
I'm pretty sure Steven Spielberg walks into every single film that he makes, and he's just like, he always thinks about if the film is going to be timeless. You know what I mean? Like every project he's on, because like literally Jaws is timeless. Oh my God. E.T. Yeah, I was gonna say Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Jurassic Park is super timeless. Are you kidding me? Oh my God.
Yeah, they keep making remakes of it, and I wouldn't say remakes, but spin-offs of it.
It's like sequel reboot kind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I think those movies are amazing. Like they're gonna be definitely like reminded of how great cinema was like in 50 years from now as well. Yes. I 100% see that. Same with Jaws. And that's a movie in the the 70s? That's I mean that's crazy.
It's nuts.
That's nuts.
It holds. It's so strong. Yeah.
Let's just go to this random ass cove and just like put a robotic shark and just film on water and pray to God that the water doesn't get in the camera and shit like that. Although I'm more than certain it probably did, and they had plenty of camera malfunctions and shit like that. Plenty of problems on set. I know Steven like went on record saying that film almost killed him. So you know it's just like come on, you know, blood, sweat, and tears into a film that's just going to be only timeless. You know.
So cool. I know. I thought about a lot, you know, career-wise. What do I want to be known for, or remembered for? How do I want people to perceive my content and stuff like that, and I really have come to the conclusion that I want to make something that's timeless. Just I don't care if it doesn't win. Now I used to be like, oh, I want to get an Academy Award. I mean, that's still on my mind. I
Yeah,
don't think
of
that
course.
ever disappears really, but more so, I think the priority is I really want to make something that is timeless. I want make something that people want to rewatch over and over again. You know, so
Totally.
I think that's why I've been leaning into um, comedies again. Both of my shorts that I've worked on, new ones, are comedy, and I had so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think Ted Lasso, if anybody watches that or whatever, for me really pushed me to be like, you know what, super touching and impactful content can be just comedy. Uh, I guess I used to think that to say something in a film, it has to be dramatic. It seems like the majority of those films are like dramatic,
Yeah.
drama. You see, but like dramedies, like Ted Lasso, the whole thing is funny and you're laughing the whole time. But when the emotional aspect hits, it's just, if not more, impactful. You know, and I really
Because the
like
comedy is there
that.
to offset it? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, it just yeah. I don't know, maybe it was just the 90s. I just felt like there's this whole slew of comedy that is deeply impactful. Before I felt like there was always comedy that was like slapstick and just funny for the sake of funny, but there wasn't
Yeah.
really much depth to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And now I'm but I'm take this with a grain of salt because I really didn't start paying attention to movies until uh undergrad, if not past that, because prior to that I didn't really have the opportunity. I wasn't allowed to really watch movies at home, so I'm catching up. And so that blanket statement of saying, oh, earlier films comedy is just comedy for the sake of comedy could be very, very ignorant. But now I'm just seeing so much content where it is comedy but has a greater, deeper meaning and impact. Does that? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that
so
makes
I
sense.
that's why I think that's why I'm leaning back towards comedy, because I really think that you can say lots of cool stuff with comedy and people will still take your film seriously, even if it's comedy.
This just
So,
reminded me. Have you ever seen talking about great comedies? I think, but it has that perfect blend of like character development, plot, and the situation that it's in. Have you ever seen The Birdcage?
I love the Birdcage.
That's a
Yes.
perfect example of just a
Yes.
great comedy, but also wholesome
Incredible
and
comedy. Yes.
sweet. You know, and
Yes.
it has a
Yes. Yes.
Republican
Yes.
senator. It's for everybody.
Love that movie.
It's a
Yes.
phenomenal fucking movie. Robin Williams' best role ever. Like that's his best role, in my opinion. And Nathan Lane's just so fucking hilarious, just so goddamn great. And same
Yeah.
with Robin too. But that's the thing, though. Robin always plays like the hilarious, like slapstick, dummy, right? But in the Birdcage, he plays, even though he's a gay man, he plays like the straight man, right? Like he plays like the non
Yes.
like weird dude, right? But Nathan Lane
Yes.
is literally the drama queen of the
So
film.
funny.
It's amazing. It's so great. Teaching like that scene when he Robin Williams tries to teach Nathan Lane how to walk like a man and they're in that cafe.
Yes. So funny.
I love that shit. That's my favorite scene of all time. It's
Yeah,
yeah,
but I
I
get
recommend that for sure for
yeah.
anybody who hasn't seen it.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you go back and trace all Academy Award winning or nominated films, very rarely is it comedy based. If you go through and think of all of the Academy nominees and stuff,
Oh yeah, they're serious as a
yeah,
fucking heart attack. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
70% drama, and maybe
totally.
you might have like 10% in it that is like comedy, you know? I mean, Jojo Rabbit was one of those like a dramedy at least. Yeah, I'm trying
Same
to
with
think
Parasite.
what other ones were. So what?
Parasite? You remember that?
Parasite's a dark comedy.
It's
Yeah,
a
I
dark
believe
comedy, but it's
Parasite's
still comedy. It's
yeah,
still
yeah,
hilarious in certain parts.
hilarious. Yeah, dark comedy, but it's still not as common as just, drama, straight pure drama. And so I so much of my past has been like, oh, I'm gonna do dramas because I want to be taken seriously and stuff, and now I'm like, what, I can do dramedy. I can do stuff that's funny and is also taken seriously, that has depth as well. So I'm really leaning into that because I just have more fun. I
Yeah.
like to laugh.
Well,
So
what you do too that because I think that calls to your comedy background is that like you let the actors just kind of like run wild and have
play.
fun with the improvisation,
Oh
Like
gosh, I love improv.
you
Yes.
let them just like you just let the camera roll. Like, you don't you'll let them kind of just freak out on camera. Just let them do their thing, you know?
Let them do their thing. Yeah.
It's but that's like that's kind of what's missing though in a lot of like bigger budget, like that's kind of like how they try to do it with Indiana Jones. Have you seen Indiana Jones yet?
I have not.
Yeah,
I
no, it's okay.
do
I mean,
go
don't
see
I mean, whatever, I've seen it. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's just it goes back to that comedy thing, right? It's like you're forcing the comedy. I mean, well, it's kind of a new idea of it, right? It's just like I think forcing funny doesn't really work. You know what I mean? Like when you write
Okay.
in a specific joke and try to hit a specific punchline, and it's just like it feels mechanical. I don't know. It
Yes.
just there isn't a lot to go with. That's like I don't know. It was every time they try to do a comedy shit, it pulls me out of the movie. But that's the thing though. Steven Spielberg blended that perfect thing of comedy and action with the first Indiana Jones. So that's why like
Yeah.
with this film I was really hopeful and I was thinking, okay, well, I hope because you're spending $300 million, it's going to fucking pay off somehow and hopefully make a great, wholesome, hilarious, amazing adventure. But you not only you didn't, but you even failed to miss what made Indiana Jones magical in the first place was because of that perfect blend of set, comedy, action, and then a little bit of drama, just like a little sprinkle, Salt Bay style. It's just like that's what was missing from Indiana Jones, and I think that was like kind of what's missing from a lot of films nowadays.
Mm.
Um, is just kind of letting because most actors are hilarious. I found out like even like watching like behind the scenes stuff like with certain like A-list celebrities and actors and whatnot. A lot of those fuckers are hilarious. Like I'm
Yeah.
more than certain they can do comedy in so many ways that it feels like you're kind of robbing the phenomenal environment of improv, and let
Yeah.
let them kind of do their thing. I mean, you can feed them lines, sure, whatever, but like once you let them kind of run free, the comedy sort of becomes a little more tangible than something that's just so shoehorned that's trying to hit you in the fucking face with the punchline that you're like, okay, all right, Jesus, I get it. Fuck. God
Yeah,
damn.
I think that
You
the
know?
thing is this is because I've directing actors in comedy. I think a big thing that I always have to remind people is that a lot of times I think actors will try to be funny and they forget that a lot of times the situation is enough to make it funny.
Yeah.
And as long as they lean into being that character who's taking that situation very seriously,
Makes it
it's
all the more funny.
more funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, even more funny because it's the situation that is making the comedy, right? And so
Totally.
maybe that's what you're feeling with the improv, is that people are being their characters and responding to situations in a way that their character would naturally through the improv, and it's just coming up with all sorts of funny stuff that a writer may not be able to fully capture, because obviously actors do what actors do best, which is embody the character, right?
Right.
So yeah,
Because they're the one
I
invested into it. Not saying that the writer isn't invested, but the writer also has to be invested in all the other characters in the script as well. So you give that
right,
one person pure focus on that character, know the wants,
right,
needs, desires, biography, all that shit. An actor is so smart, they can engage with that pretty quickly and they can
yeah,
essentially run with like any sort of type of improv or ad lib that they can see the character saying and
yeah.
serve the purpose of the story or the sketch or whatever, you know. um that's just I think that's a phenomenal like I think that's phenomenal comedy in my opinion, you know.
Yeah.
um yeah. Airplane does that too. It's an old movie. um
Okay. I was hoping it wasn't, because isn't there a drama, like an action drama film called Airplane that just
an action drama? No, it's a comedy.
wait. There's a new film also titled that.
No, it can't be the same thing. There's no shot. This movie is it has Leslie Nielsen.
Okay. Okay, yeah. That's a, I see which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Airplane. Yes. What was this film then? Oh, no, it was just Plane. I'm thinking of the film
Oh, okay.
Plane. Yes. Yes, there's a film that came out in 2023 this year called Plane. And that's what I was thinking when you said Airplane. I was like, oh,
Oh,
then I was like,
Plane.
oh shit, is
Yeah.
it a remake? It's
No,
not.
God, no, 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 no. This comedy is amazing. Has Leslie Nielsen. Has
Okay.
Have you ever seen Breaking Bad?
Yes.
It has a bald guy Mike in the film too.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
He's in the
Cool.
movie. Yeah, yeah. Everybody is fucking hilarious. And this is 1980, by the way, and it's
Oh,
still fucking.
still holds up.
Oh my god, it's so. I mean, I watched it like I want to say roughly a year ago. So it hasn't been like super recent, but I mean, and also it's an hour and 25-minute film. I mean, you're in, you're out, you're done. That's it. You know, there's not a big investment at all. It's such a great fucking movie. It's so good.
Okay. I'm gonna
I
add it to my
recommend it
list.
for anybody who loves comedy. For sure.
Plane.
Um,
I'm putting it in my list. I have a list of things I need to watch. For example,
I do
Spinal
too.
Tap.
Spinal Tap. Yeah, you can. I think that's for free on YouTube. I think as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I remember seeing it on YouTube somewhere, but I own it because I love that fucking movie so much.
Yeah. It's on my list of movies that I need to watch. So,
Especially
um,
too, I think you'll like that director in his because it's the same director who made Princess Bride.
oh, okay. Cool,
Yeah,
cool,
so
cool.
he made this kind of mockumentary style. He also stars in it, but he
Yeah.
plays as a different name, but he still directs the mockumentary. And so you see him come in and out every couple of times, and every time he gets it's hilarious. I recommend that movie. Yeah, I
Okay.
realize now
Cool.
that like there's so many comedies, but like not a lot of them probably get like the praise and love and attention because I mean, why the fuck would like the Academy Awards like showcase movies like fucking Airplane or
I was gonna say they
Spinal
don't
Tap?
get as much love. That's the issue I have, is that I feel like the reason why I gravitated towards doing uh dramas is it feels like the only way to be considered or taken seriously in the industry almost is that you is starts with drama. Like drama is almost the the sure way to be taken seriously, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I've for the longest time was like, oh, I'm gonna do drama, I'm gonna do drama. But just seeing content like Ted Lasso and what we do in the shadows and whatnot, and how brilliant some of this content is, yet still has depth, makes me happy.
Totally.
So,
And I feel like that kind of goes by the wayside, especially in the eyes of cinema, right? Because
yeah,
comedy can never ever truly live up to be cinema, despite the fact that Parasite has played into
right.
those comedy and Jojo Rabbit has played into that comedy. But you're going to call all that cinema. It's a little bit
Yet
subjective,
comedy,
you know?
yeah, totally. I think it's just that's what I'm saying. I just feel like historically comedy has been seen as like sitcom or like Friends, and
Yeah.
it's just I don't know, just they just doesn't seem cinematic or whatever. So I like that. There's I just love dark comedies, so
Yeah.
that's where I'm going to be leaning into, I believe, for a lot of my future content.
I love it, dude. Anything else you've been
Yeah.
watching?
Yes. A few days ago, I watched Mermaid Down.
Yes.
It is a feature film about a mermaid, and it was made for $85,000. I
Ooh.
specifically watched it because I had used it as a comparison in my pitch deck. Like, hey, look, here's a film made with little money that did very well. And when I watched it, I was like, holy shit, how do they do this for 85K actually? And I could see why it did well. It is very action oriented. It had, unlike Ursley, it was definitely darker and was more action than it is dialogue. It had because the mermaid itself didn't talk at all. It was all physicality. Um, I was impressed by the way it was shot, and there were, I mean, like any indie small ass film, there's going to be some storyline plot holes, but overall, I was pretty sucked into the movie, and I would recommend people give it a watch at least once. Uh, it was shot in LA, that's I believe, and now I'm trying to dig and look for behind the scenes to see how they did a lot of this content, because the way they did this tale was pretty awesome. Um,
Yeah.
I saw in the credits animatronics, so it makes me wonder whether that's why the tail looks so cool, is that it was animatronics.
Mm.
Um, but it just looked really real. But the premise of the film is there a mermaid gets her tail severed, and she's thrown into a mental institution, and nobody believes that she's a mermaid, basically. Like,
Gotcha.
and that's the premise. It's very creative, and it definitely leans in more into the horror aspect. So much darker, zero comedy.
Yeah.
uh, but it's well done. So I had a lot of fun watching it, and I think people should go and support. So yeah,
Totally.
eighty five
Yeah.
thousand
It just
dollars.
blows my
Pretty amazing.
mind.
Yeah.
But I
It's
mean,
something I've been thinking about a lot, about what's
yeah.
the next project going to be, right? I think every filmmaker who's made their first feature or whatever, it's always like, oh, sorry, and it's called Mermaid Down. Mermaid Down. You can get it for free on Plex. I think it might be on Tubi and stuff like that. But
I saw it free on
uh,
YouTube.
it came out in 2019, so it's not like a new film, but newish, and uh, it was done pretty well.
Yeah,
So
it's on
I
YouTube
was
as
very
well.
much surprised. Yeah, and I definitely watched it being like, oh, fuck, I need to up my game a lot more.
Yeah.
I actually felt kind of depressed afterwards, because I was like, man,
But I think that's a
I
good thing. It draws inspiration. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's kind of how I felt when I watch like Mad Max well Fury Road too, but like more importantly The Road Warrior. You know, even though it's like taking place in the 80s, it's a perfect post-apocalyptic film, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, well, I'm never gonna make a post-apocalyptic movie to live up to that. There's just no fucking way. But I feel like
That's how you feel. Like Dune, you watch Dune, you watch, I'm just like, gosh darn it.
yeah.
Oh,
Well, I mean, but that's the thing though. It's like Ursula kind of is a whole thing in of itself. You know what I mean?
that's what
At
Elizabeth
least
kept telling me. She's like, she's like, you can't compare the two. They're two
it's
different
hard.
films.
Yeah.
Apples and oranges and stuff. I'm like, I guess so. But you see another great film and you're like, oh, I want him to make mine great too. And then you start to notice all the issues that were in your film. But I appreciate it that you think it's amazing. That makes me very
Yeah.
happy.
I mean, well,
So.
because I wouldn't, because it's hard to not compare, and I don't want to say I understand because I haven't directed a film yet, but like I I can see where how you feel about it. You know what I mean? Like because you do want it to be the best work that you possibly can, but it is.
Yes.
That's the thing. It is.
Yeah.
You don't see
and
that
also,
because you are very self-critical and you've seen Ursula 9 billion times. So
times.
yeah. So you know the movie back to front to back. So you're sick of it and you're like, ugh, Christine can do better. It's like, well, no, but that is great though. You know?
Yeah,
I like it.
And I think about it, I'm like, the last two shorts that I just did, I can tell that I've improved significantly. Like it's like piece of cake to me.
Right.
It's no longer hard. And I'm like, and I feel like I could have only reached that because I did, Ursula.
Yeah.
So now nothing can compare. I have my friend Mai, who's also a talented director, DP. She messaged me and said, "Hey, like, what did you learn from producing and doing Ursula?" And I hadn't reflected about it in a long time, and I go through and I think about like what was it that made it so stressful, and for me it was honestly it was just finding the funding. That was the hardest thing. Constantly just think about, this is the way for people who are not in film or just think about perpetually being broke and having to figure out how to make ends meet. How that is on a day-to-day basis is how it is when you're producing a low budget film. You and any single surprise can throw off your entire thing, your entire
Everything.
mojo,
Yeah.
right? So it's like living paycheck to paycheck is the way I can describe what it's like, what it feels like being a low budget independent producer. So it's like you have everything perfectly, uh, balanced and budgeted. Okay, we have this amount of money to pay for my groceries or in our state, yeah, our food or our food budget. Here's the right amount of money to pay all the people and the services and stuff that I need and stuff. Wham, your car breaks down. Shit. uh, everything was perfectly budgeted for. Where do I get this $2,000 that I don't have anywhere? And how do I survive? Right. So that's how it feels tenfold. It's like you have just this amount of money to make it, and then you keep getting hit with surprise after surprise after surprise in the pre-production and post-production and production at every single facet of the filmmaking, and that's the mental fuck. Is that the actual work itself is not rocket science when you're making a feature film. You gather resources,
Right. It's a lot of
and
money.
you make sure that the resources match the money that you have, and you make sure they arrive on time, and that the people who are helping you make your film are supported to do their jobs as well. So that is not rocket science, but
no. But
because
apparently getting money is.
it's just balancing. It's just
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because yeah, because Mai's question, which was like, I don't think you can separate the two, because she said, um, any lessons you've learned from doing feature films that are not finance related in terms of suggestions, and I'm like, I don't think you can, as a producer, you literally those are hand in hand. Like I can't separate that.
You can't. Yeah,
And I
it's
was
part of all of it.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to her that like everything is ingrained in the financial aspect of, you know, for maybe not as much as a director, but 100% for the producer, and every single mental uh stress was because you're living paycheck to paycheck and you are bombarded by surprises and stuff. So that's so yeah. So for those who are embarking on making their first feature film, starting a low budget feature film, producing anything, that's the if you're trying to gauge what it feels like, just think of your brokest moment and then getting slammed with a million surprises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, and then Anna's right. It's harder when you want to not jeopardize what you stand for. Agreed. Exactly. And then
Yeah.
not wanting to compromise. It's hard because if you compromise on one thing, something else is going to suffer, right? And it's how do you compromise without making certain things suffer, right? And that's all. It's a problem solving thing, and that's where that is where the stress comes from. You
Yeah.
know, less so about hopefully like in an ideal world you have an amazing crew and they don't complain and they do amazing work and blah blah blah, but you're also dealing with humans, and humans all have different needs, um and everything, and humans are going to be humans, and you can't, as much as you're going to try to anticipate what people need, people suck.
Oh. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so they're all going to think about their own individualistic needs, and when you get 50 people thinking of only themselves, it's going to be stressful as a producer, right? So
It's a lot of people to think about.
that's
Yeah.
yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the nature of the beast. That's all. So yeah, so that was my friend Maya asked me about that, what my learning experience was with producing and directing a feature film. I said otherwise, like the actual work itself isn't really, that's not the part that was hard. That was the fun part. It's literally the mental stress that you're
Yeah.
dealing with.
Because it
Yeah.
feels like you're showing up to work, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
once you have production, you have a set date, you have, call sheets already ready to go. It's just work at that point. Now you're just
You
like,
just
all right,
go in and you execute. You're
I'm
just
just
executing.
executing this thing. Now it's
Yeah.
just, but before then it set everything up. It's like, it's crazy because I was talking about this too with a buddy of mine. And I mentioned, I was like, it sucks how money buys everything except for time. And I hate the fact that like money rules literally everything. Like going back to that Wu-Tang song, like you can't fathom the idea that nothing in any field that you're working in doesn't involve money in some way, shape, or form. Everything revolves around money. It sucks. I mean, it could be a toxic idea, money,
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
at a certain point. But here's the thing though, I am like like I would want to pay my crew and the talent and all that. Like I want to pay them what they deserve because they put in
Yes.
the fucking hard work. Like what do you mean?
Which, if you are a good producer or at least care about your crew, that is yet another mind fuck,
Yeah, you
because
can't just not worry
there's
about that.
constant guilt. Uh, that's how I can liken it. I mean, I'm sure there's lots of producers that I think there. When you get to a certain point, you're able to separate things emotionally from the practicality of things. But when you're working with people that are your friends, who you really respect, and you've been in their shoes, you've been a crew member, you know how difficult it is to work for little money and support yourself doing your craft.
Yeah.
and you're on the other side, you're riddled with guilt all the time. I think that's a big thing as also that you deal with as a producer, because you're just constantly being like, man, I wish I could give people more. I wish I could pay for this prep. I wish that I could, get them this piece of equipment that will make their life easier. I wish we had 3 more days. Like it was that I think that was a hard part with Ursley, was like I was constantly feeling guilty. And I don't know if that's something that you just get over or what, but like yeah, it just like when I could tell people were suffering, like I was suffering more because it hurt me seeing other people suffer. So, but yeah, so that's kind of the long answer to Mai's question as to the what the lessons were that I learned from producing is that it's like being broke and having to feed your children.
I mean, yeah, literally. Which is why like a lot of people realize that like even like first timers who I've worked with have like not had that reality check set in until they show up to set, and I'm like, "Oh boy, you're going to be in for a wild ride, dude, if you think that is like, oh, I thought I was going to be paid money bags. Like I thought I just knock on Hollywood store and they just hand me a bag of money. That's not how it works." What?
No, I mean, I don't know if you saw there was an article that's been floating around that said that Netflix made like a shit ton of money off of Squid Games, yet the creator of Squid Games like made zero residuals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I read that
he's
too.
made
That's
he
so
has seen
crazy.
none of that basically. So it's just I don't know. So yes, we support the fight. It's hard right now, so everybody stay vigilant if you are a creator and feeling the brunt of the strike. This is
You're
a
not
great
alone.
time. You're not alone. Everybody is in this place. This is a great time to support your fellow creators, make, co-create, write, organize your kits, and be get yourself as ready as you can be when the floodgates open again. So, yes.
The Arctic Tale says our media is founded on the agendas of the people that have the money, not the people that write the stories. A lot of the times, yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
we make record profit but can't pay our crew a living wage. Yeah, I. That's the
Yeah. And
thing,
that's why people are striking right now. Yeah.
because
So,
you're right, Arctic Tail. It is literally every corporation that gets big, 100%. It's just all these studios. What like that's kind of like again going back to the writer's strike. Like I don't understand why it's so difficult for the idea of just giving this much for the CEOs to take home this much, right? Or maybe even bigger than that to a certain degree. I mean, who is it? David Zaslav. He has Warner Brothers, CNN, all these like news aggregation and studios. It's like I'm sure he'll be okay if he can spare a couple, like like $100 million isn't going to fuck his entire life up. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which is why, like, nah, we won't get into politics. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you got to understand, regardless what side of the aisle any of y'all are in, and I respect anybody's side, really, you have to understand that every single facet of a industry, career, anything that requires you to have a living wage is never ever going to be guaranteed. And you should feel that too. Everybody should feel that as well, because it's scary. It's a scary time that we're living in right now, and all that promise of an American dream and all that, it just like it's crushing a lot of people. And I think this is a great opportunity to, I mean, yeah, it sucks that, our higher paying jobs are just kind of turning us over left and right, but if anything, this is an opportunity for you to do the things that you specifically want to do.
Yep.
Because that's just kind of what this weird thing called life kind of calls for. And if you think that like there's everything going against you, then you think everything's going against you. Then you're just going to live that lifestyle and just know that like, well, nothing will get better and this is just the way it is. When that's not true. Of course that's not true. You always have people to support you, even if you think you don't. You absolutely do. And the people who are, super wealthy and super living on, very good terms, like, yeah, that's great and all, but understand that that can always go away very quickly. So help the ones that need the help, and support those who need that support, and this whole writer, because even like you don't get paid to strike in a writer strike. You're sitting
No.
in that hot ass fucking sun all goddamn day just so you can get blisters coming home and no fucking cash in your pocket. Like it sucks, but they do it because they know it's right. They know that it's something they want to do for the rest of their lives. They just want to be compensated a little bit better. And
Yes.
correct if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's a super left right take. It's just I think we should all be
Yeah.
paid fairly. Is that a problem? I don't understand. I don't get it.
Right. The Arctic Tale, Anna said, most workers are okay with the concept of making a dime while the boss makes a dollar. Exactly. But right now, making a dime, but not when, but now it's they're making a dime while boss is making a
A
billion.
billion.
That's the issue. There's a
So,
very
yeah.
big discrepancy. And
And it
then,
seems like
yeah,
that
she's
dime
also
is
saying,
turning into 9 cents and then 8 cents
yeah,
and then 7 cents and then 6 cents for some reason. It feels like it's
and
going
build
down while they're
communities.
going up sometimes,
I think this is a good concluding note, but build communities and support each other. I fully agree with this. The biggest reason I'm able to continue to do and create content is because I've partnered up with incredible friends and creators that like we just make art for the sake of art. Like I'm not and this comes with that guilt. I'm not able to always pay my post people, my crew or whatever. Yet I have friends that believe in me and communities that believe in me that are stepping in to allow me to borrow their film equipment or stepping in to give me a hand when it comes to crew work or acting or every position under the sun the for making a film. And that is the community and the support that we should be showing each other during times like these. So because it's about an hour and I have to go watch Spider Verse at 4,
Hell yeah.
and every place in LA takes an hour to get to. So,
Yes.
because of traffic, I wanted to say thank you to the community that allows and enables and supports me to continue to do my work, despite the fact that I should be paying you guys lots and lots and lots of money that I do not have at all. I appreciate it so much, man. Like Nick Longoria right now, like spit out this incredible score for Jam Gas and my new short. Jeff, who hopefully we'll bring onto the podcast. He says he wants to be a guest. He's part of Taproot Audio. He's doing mixing. He's done the mixing for I think at least five of my films. Fantastic. Again, he's doing this because of his generous heart. And I mean, all my actors, everybody pretty much worked with nothing but, you know, breakfast and lunch, and that's about it. And so I appreciate that, yeah, very 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 much. So
We do it for
so
the love
yeah,
of the
the
game.
that I extend this offer to any of my friends who are currently trying to get things off the road. Uh, a full on feature, maybe we need to talk about that. That may be a bit much, but like, hey, if it's a weekend and I'm not doing anything, or a few days and you need a camera op or 80 or whatever editor, I'll come help. So because to give back, because that's the only way I've been able to create too. So
Yeah.
All right. So
And that
make
being,
more films.
yeah.
Yes, make your own shit during this time, and hopefully the strikes will come to a positive conclusion for all.
God fucking A, man. Jesus. That being said, getrealisms.com, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up your goddamn book today. Pick up your t-shirt. Pick up your poster. Pick up everything. Everything you love about this podcast. We need that support. And just wrap it all up. The Arctic Tale says, keep working hard and connecting with fellow artists. I think that's a beautiful way to end this podcast. Yeah. Keep working hard and connecting with fellow artists is always the way to go, because sometimes we need that support, and support means more value than just money itself. You know what I mean, guys?
Yes.
So thank you. I love you guys so much. That's about it for us.
Thank you for coming and listening. We always really appreciate it. So
I've been having a 10-1 since the beginning of this pod, so we are gonna
Well, there we go.
Oh!
If you don't know what 10-1 means, maybe you should get the book.
You should pick up that book, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. We'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Bye.